every day.
Tuesday is right around the corner, and they're saying that the NFLPA and Watson and Sue Robinson is meeting. They're going to discuss a potential suspension. There's been a lot of one-sided reporting and a lot of momentum swelling for Watson to get a year. I understand the outcry and the reasoning for people to want him to get suspended, but the overall lack of coverage and the overall lack of accountability for other people in other cases has to be duly noted in this situation here. I'm not pointing one finger at the other and saying, hey, everybody's doing bad things. The amount of smoke, the amount of pressure they're putting on Deshaun Watson as opposed to other prominent figures in the NFL, it's at an alarming rate, and I don't think people are really noticing or just taking a hard deep dive look at really what's going on here. This could cause potential issues in the future. I want to go over their argument, the NFLPA, if Watson gets a suspension, a lengthy suspension, or is put on the exempt list. Now, the NFL right now is overshooting. They want to look good in PR standpoint. They want people to know that, hey, we push for this. We want him out indefinitely for a year. PR standpoint, they want to put that message out there. He had so many allegations given. I understand that, but he was never charged for anything criminally. And most of his cases now are settled in court based on how other people are feeling rather than fact. Now, the NFLPA's argument is something completely different. We're going to use Daniel Snyder. We're going to use Jerry Jones. We're going to use Robert Kraft in the midst of other things to argue why you should not bring a hammer down on Watson. And then the third option is just what they're thinking what Sue would do. So, all in all, let's get to it. Okay, so the Deshaun Watson case has been an absolute nightmare, and it's been challenging for people to cover it from the standpoint of you have one man that has 24 allegations of sexual misconduct and not assault. At first they said that it was assault and used force, and then they recanted their statements and depositions. But if we want to be honest here, all 24 women were not going to hold up in court. And that's just not me being the big, it's just cross-examination, going through the stories. I'm not a lawyer, and the depositions, the notes, everything is available. And I'm reading them myself, and I'm looking at these notes, and I'm like, if I can tear these apart, what can a lawyer do? That was never Busby's plan. And people need to realize that it was shock in numbers. If I can get more numbers onto the case, and then it's going to paint a narrative of Mr. Watson, it's going to paint a narrative of him to roast some court of public opinion. Watson is never going to get court of public opinion back. Like, he was exonerated for any of the charges. It was a no bill. And yet we're getting articles coming out that means that he's not innocent. We have the sheriff stating that they think he's guilty, but all men are guilty until proven innocent. And it's a lot of things on one end that drive the false narrative. What I believe is, from my actual standpoint, that four cases was actually real, and the 20 ones that were dismissed, they were actually made up to inflate the numbers. What I think Watson did, he just settled it to get that out of the way. And at this point, guilty, innocent, people are going to feel their way. People are going to say, hey, I knew he was guilty, that's why he settled it to get out the way. People are going to say, hey, he was innocent, he was tired of the scrutiny, the Bill Cosby, the R. Kelly jokes, the constant barrage of keyboard warriors on Twitter and social media. It was a lose-lose situation either way it goes. So him settling the cases directly lies with the NFL. NFL told Watson, like, look, hey, suspension will be lighter if you settle these cases. That came out right away after the news of that they're talking, and I 100% believe the NFL said, hey, knock down as many of these cases as possible, resolve all these cases as possible. NFL does not care, point blank period. And I think people need to realize that the NFL is not the justice system. Justice system did their due diligence there and said there was nothing there. What the NFL cares about is sales, demographics, and optics. And the sales and the demographics of an optics of a situation. Punishing a player based on sales, demographics, and optics. If it looks a certain way, even though it's not, they have to punish, right? They want to bring more women into the sport. They want to get more viewership from women. If they don't punish Deshaun Watson, it's going to set a precedent for women, and they're going to lose a percentage of people. The NFL's standpoint is that we got to look as fierce as possible, but silently, behind the doors, we are talking a settlement. We are talking games. We're talking with Deshaun Watson and his camp in the NFLPA. NFLPA. They have a great argument here, and they have legs if Watson gets suspended for a year, or if he gets a lengthy punishment, they have a great case which they can take to the Supreme Court. They put on Kessler for this case, and Kessler was Deflategate, Tom Brady's lawyer, and he is feared around the NFL. So the problem that the NFL has with this Watson case is that they have to tread lightly. If they bring the hammer down on Deshaun Watson, brings issues for other cases, such as Daniel Snyder, which is going on. He should have been forced to sell that team like 15 years ago. Issues with Jerry Jones infidelity in the past. Robert Kraft, part of an illegal sex trafficking case, has video evidence. Nothing. Slap on the wrist. So, conduct policy, it states that the owners are held to a higher precedent than the players because they're the representatives of the teams. You can't impose sanctioned punishments, unprecedented punishments for players, and you can't give owners slap on the wrist. That's going to cause an outage in the strike itself. And what the NFLPA is doing is that they're not just arguing for Deshaun Watson. They're arguing for the players that are going to come forward. Because if Deshaun Watson gets a year or an indefinite suspension or an indefinite ban, could you imagine how much strong arm tactics is going to go on moving forward with NFL players? These guys are going to have to live in a bubble and have people sign NDAs for everything. Because if I can get a group of people to say you did something, even though I know you didn't do something, or if I get a group of people to corroborate on the same story and we take that to the NFL, I'll leverage your career. I will leverage your future. I would get people to say that you did something, even though you didn't do something. It gets thrown out in court, lack of evidence. Oh well, you're still going to get suspended. You're still going to lose livelihood. So what you're going to do? You're going to settle right away to pay for it to get it out the way, or you're going to draw it out and get your name cleared. So that's the precedent he's set right now, and that's what the NFLPA is fighting for. Because if this suspension is huge, it affects the NFL for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. In the climate of what we're in today with the Me Too movements and just overall movements, there is no accountability on people's end that are accusing people. Love interests, relationships, you have to tread lightly on that, because a post from a lover, an ex-lover, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a certain post, it could kill your career. And the NFL is going to move on the side of optics rather than the truth. And the media is going to move on optics rather than the side of truth. The media is the ugliest thing about this whole Watson thing. Mike Florio has been so ugly. It makes me question whether he genuinely hates black people. I don't know him. But from his tweets, from the amount of energy that he's given on this Watson case, makes me believe that one, he was a part of Busby's team, or two, he had something going on here. And I'm looking at Florio's track record in the past, and it's not good. But these are the people that have millions of followers. ESPN has done bad with this. FS1 has done bad with this. Almost every media outlet has done bad with this, and the reason why is that elephant in the room. We have a group of people that want to speak out against this, but they can't speak out against this because of, back to this word, optics, how it looks. Spy defendant man has 24 allegations. Even though the evidence is light, even though it looks false or phony, I'm supporting sexual assault, sexual abuse. So I have to play or pander to this side or play to this side and disregard facts. That's what people have been doing this whole time during the year. Disregarding facts and disregarding coincidences. Another thing that the NFLPA will argue is that the Texans gave Deshaun Watson $100+ million extension in 2020. You don't think they were aware of this? It's tampering, at least from the Texans itself. It is a huge can of worms that the NFL will go under if they drop an unprecedented hammer and those bombs start to get released in the NFL. They don't want that. They want to give you the optics of what's going to happen, what could happen, what should happen. Me, I personally feel like he served last year. It should be time served, but the Shield has to protect the Shield in its own 4 to 6 games. It's just we're suspending and they're punishing a person based on how people feel, and you can't punish someone based on how something feels. What I realistically would want, and what the schedule indicates, is 4 to 6 games. Like 6 appealing down to 4, because after week 5, the schedule for the Browns goes up, and I've said this in earlier videos, it goes up, it escalates, it goes up. So NFL is pushing for a year. They're saying that the judge, Sue Robinson, which is a former Supreme Court judge, is going to push down any NFL suspension. So a year may get cut down to 10, may get cut down to 6 to 8. He's going to be going at least half a year. Just and it's just so ugly and disgusting. Like as people, we need to look within ourselves and do better within ourselves moving forward. There's always next year. This year is going to be good. So just stay tuned. Breathe easy, Browns fans. We're going to get through this. You're gonna need a lot of R&R on Wednesday. This is the calm before the storm. I'm out.